So there are three main positions of strength I cover. Just want to kick you off with the first one right here, right now. Alright, before we begin, I'd like you to hit that like and subscribe button. If you're to get this video and the next and the next, I don't want you to ever miss a video that I put out for the sake of your tennis game. Alright, the link to the online accelerator program members area is below. Look forward to seeing you there, but first let's start with this video. Let's have some fun. The first one I want to talk about is what it means to break your wrist. So in the wrist, there's three positions, and I want you to look at it here with the camera. So we have a cocked, which is a loaded position when the forearm is loaded. We have a neutral position, and we have a broken position. So cocked, neutral, broken. Cocked, neutral, broken, right? Now, when the wrist is broken like this, and you can even see right here, my wrist is broken. A lot of people do this on their serve. They break their wrist on their serve. On the volley, it's really apparent when they come down with the racket, they break their wrist on the forehand volley. You lose strength with a broken wrist. And just, if you don't believe me, just have in a broken wrist, try to have someone put pressure on the racket and feel how weak that feels versus having your wrist in a cocked or a neutral position and being much more stable. And so whether you're hitting a forehand here, a volley, and a continental grip, or a serve right here, the wrist always goes from cocked to neutral, never broken, right? And so like you see a common one on the backhand volley, the backhand volley should look like it. You can look at my racket path, it going out like this, right? So it should go out instead of down. Right now it takes some shoulder strength to keep the racket up and out instead of down. And they all say like your hand should never, the racket head should never dip below the racket, right? So you see a lot of people volleying like this, which is why there's a weakness in the wrist at impact and the ball popping up. You don't have strength through the ball instead of hitting a low volley like this, right? Where you see I can keep this position of strength here. Same with the forehand. A lot of players will flick their wrist and break their wrist here, right, versus keeping it strong through impact. That will change the weight of shot. Same with the serve. You can see my serve, right? When I'm here, a lot of people, to try to hit a spin serve, you can look up at my racket, try to dip the wrist here. The wrist doesn't actually dip like this. When I talk about pronation with the wrist and keeping a position of strength, and you can do this at home, so look at my palms. I have my palms up, now I have my palms down, and that's a pronation, right? That's how, if you do this a bunch, you're going to start to feel a lot of your forearm really working by flipping your palm up versus down. And that's what we're doing on the serve. You're actually coming around this way versus this way and breaking the wrist. Okay, so we're going to roll out and hit a few, but keeping a position of strength is so crucial, because if you're hitting like a hand feed that has no pace, that's one thing, but if someone's smacking the ball at you and now there's weight behind the ball, you also have to maintain a position of strength through the ball, or else you're going to feel like you're getting knocked back. Okay, and your shots are going to spray, there's going to be instability on your shots. A firm wrist through the ball, it's just not breaking. And you can see this when Rafa's smacking these forehands. And you'd think Rafa would break his wrist because he has so much whip and a lot of wrist lag in a lot of his shots. Okay? But despite the wrist lag, at impact it doesn't break. So slow down here and you can see contact right here. See how he turns it over, like we talked about that hand turning over from palm up to palm down, but it doesn't break. And so we're going to slow it down one more time and go, the wrist is cocked. He's definitely using his wrist into the ball right there, but the wrist turns over. Okay, it turns over. It does not break.